Well, I'm here with Jan McNeilon, and it hasn't been the exact greatest spring, but now we're having sunny days and cold
We
days.
are.
So really, what about vegetable gardening? What should we talk about
Well,
with that?
it's still too cool. Our soil temperature this morning is 48 degrees here. I realize that a lot of the viewers are in colder parts of Oregon too.
Sure.
So you have to go by where you are located and what you can do. But the soil temperatures here are too cold still for any of the warm season crops. You can plant peas and potatoes and lettuce and things, but tomatoes and beans and cucumber, squash, all that stuff, you just have to wait. And it's better to wait than it is to put it in, have it struggle, and then replant it, or have it just not be a very thrifty plant.
Yeah, and we're really not losing anything.
No,
it would just
because-
sit there.
No, it will just sit there. A lot of times people will put in, say, marigolds early, and they sit there and they turn purple.
Yes, I've seen that.
And they wait.
It's the
That's
cold.
the cold. Yeah.
Ah,
So
so
the
that's
plant can't take up the nutrients that it needs.
Ah. And then what else are we seeing? Are there some other things that are going on in gardens or lawns or around
Well,
the...
it's been brought up in, I guess, a news article about crane fly in the lawns. A number of years back, maybe 20 years back, it was a big issue in lawns. And it can be. Keep in mind that crane fly, there's a lot of different kinds of crane fly.
Oh,
so
okay.
this is the European crane fly that can be an issue in lawns. But if you think you have a problem, you can cut out a section of turf that's about 12 by 12 inches
Okay.
and about 2 inches down. Flip it over and count. If you have the larval stages of 25 or more in a square foot, you've got an issue. If not, you don't. And pretty much a healthy lawn that has good drainage will balance itself out and be okay. So don't treat because you might have a problem.
Right.
And also, if you see a lot of starlings in your lawn, they're there getting the crane fly.
Ah, and really the crane fly larva eats the roots.
It
and
eats
then
the
it'll show
roots.
brown spots.
Yep, and then this is,
Oh,
what I
got
dropped one. This is what they look like. The adult lays the eggs, and then the larval stage there's 2 stages, and then it becomes what's called a leather jacket, and the leather jacket then pupates. It's pupating, and then it actually, the adult hatches from it. And here's a kind of nifty picture.
Yeah, I never saw that
of the
before.
leather jacket coming out of the soil, and the pupa case is here, and then the adult just emerges right out of the top. And sometimes you'll see them sitting on end
Oh, interesting.
in the lawn.
Ah.
And here's some information on how to just dig a section and see if you really have an issue or not.
And we'll
There's
have
lots of things that cause browning in lawns.
Of course, yeah. And we'll have this up on the website so everybody can see that.
Right, and there's an OSU Extension publication on crane fly.
Ah, and we'll have a link to that.
Right.
Well, great. Well, we'll go on to better things.
Okay.
And so what are you planning to put in these new raised beds?
Well, this is a really good sunny spot that's close to the house, so I'm actually going to, there's some pea gravel that was down here before, and I tilled it with with my Mantis tiller, and I'm going to take some of the used potting soil that's in some of these big buckets, put it in the bottom, then I'm going to take some steer manure and potting soil, new potting soil,
That'd be good.
and mix it in. I'm going to put some peas in, I'm going to put some tomatoes in, and then I'm going to put some herbs along the side so it's closer to the kitchen.
Ah, because you do have raised beds way
I do,
out in your
yeah.
property, but
Yeah.
it's nice to have this close in. You
Yeah,
don't
it's
have to
just a
take
good,
a hike.
well, it's a good sunny spot too, and we have to chase the sun around here.
Ah, that is true. Well, I know that you have a greenhouse. You have
Okay.
something going on in there, and so let's go see what's happening.
Alrighty.
Well, Jan, the greenhouse is chock-a-block. It looks great.
Well, it's not as full as we used to keep it, but it's still getting better. I got a bunch of annuals and a few perennials to put in, but I keep them in the greenhouse right now and let them adjust to the warmer weather later.
It's just a little chilly.
Yeah, and then the other thing I wanted to bring up was if you're new to a landscape, you bought a new house and it's a new yard to you, my suggestion is to wait a year, unless something's like really in your way or you can't stand it.
Right.
But find out why, especially if someone you bought from is a gardener.
Right.
You're going to find bulbs, you're going to find all sorts of things that bloom at different times,
Right.
and you may want to save them.
Oh,
so
sure,
that's
sure.
keep that in mind when you're you have a landscape that's new to you.
Yeah, just be a little patient. Enjoy.
Yeah, for sure. And then what I've done here, I've got some new, actually I have,
Oh, new clematis.
I have 4 new I'm a clematis,
Uh-huh.
clemaholic. Is that a, anyway, just got these from Wayside Gardens.
Oh, nice.
And then, so they're waiting for me to decide what to do with them.
Sure.
And then I bought some tomatoes, although it's too early to plant them unless you have walls of water and protection outside. I bought them and then I leave them in the greenhouse, let them get a little bigger, and then when it's time they're actually bigger plants, and I bought a 4-inch pot instead of a gallon.
Right. And really, if you don't have a greenhouse, you can still put them closer into the house, just out of the cool,
Right.
if it's a frost or just protection.
South side protection
Definitely.
of frost, yeah. And then I like vines a lot, and so this year I'm going to plant some cardinal climbers, is
Oh,
what this is. It's a
nice.
sort of a
Oh, red flowered one.
yeah, a vine that puts out a little flower that looks like a morning glory. It's a morning glory relative, and has a really nice fringy foliage on it. But they popped up within a few days of me planting them. I just use these
great
clamshells, and I leave the soil moist, and then I just keep them closed, and I leave them closed until they germinate. And then when they do, I open them up. These happen to be sitting on propagation heat mats,
Those are nice to
so
have.
they work really well. Same
Sure.
thing happened here. These are black-eyed Susan vines, and they popped really well. These are cobea, which is cup and saucer vine. They're very hard to germinate, and so far I'm not doing too well with that.
Well, 2 out of 3.
Yeah, and then these are just some marigold
Marigolds.
seeds that I saved last year, and I just scrub them into the top of some soil, keep them wet, and pretty soon they start to pop, and then I move them to something else. So that's my fun for this year.
Well, as you heard from Jan, we really should wait to get those warm season vegetables in, like your tomatoes and your squash and your peppers. You have time now, and you didn't lose anything. So, Jan, thanks so much for all the tips. We'll see you next month.
Okay.